Hi, Alex Jones. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
I'm very excited to be here tonight again. I love this time of year, Alex. It's Halloween is just around the corner.
Well, yeah, and then, of course, it's bonfire night.
Yeah, the central heating is on and everything's getting toasty at home.
Which all means one thing.
Winter is coming.
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 I know this is hard for you, but winter is coming.
Yes, you know what? There's snow in the air too. Please welcome from Game of Thrones Jon Snow himself, it's Kit Harington. Oh, lovely to see you. Really
Hello, Kit. If that is your real name. When did you find out that wasn't your real name?
Do you know what? I found out my name was Christopher. Kit is actually an Elizabethan traditional shortening for Christopher. I found out my name was Christopher when I was about 11 years old.
Kit's a great name, though.
It is a good name. I think it's a good name.
Amazing.
I'm a Charles, really, so I changed it to be cooler.
You do not look like a Charles.
I feel like one
all.
right now.
But this is a bit of a love-in tonight, Kit, because Ricky here, or Charles, is a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and the first live band that you saw were...
Ricky, it was Kaiser Chiefs.
I mean...
Yes! Come on! Yes. How was I?
You were great. I was a huge fan. I am a huge fan.
Thank you.
I saw you guys on an NME tour with Block Party and... Who else was it? It was...
The Killers.
The Killers.
But we were first on.
You were first
So we were the first band you saw.
And that was your kind of big break.
It was our big break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was our Game of Thrones.
Yeah. You were great. I remember thinking this band's going to, you know, go massive.
And you were right.
Yeah.
Huge.
No, I'm huge.
Well, we're going to be talking about your latest television drama, Gunpowder, which starts tomorrow night. We're very excited about it a little bit later on.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Kit, but a famous Swedish furniture store, the Game of Thrones people have been buying their rugs to use as capes in the show. Did you know this?
I didn't, and they've always told us they were genuine. There's such figures.
Well, that store even produced one of their trademark diagrams to show how to turn the rug into a cape. So, of course, we have, da-da, made one.
Hey, you should get me in this. You should get me in the show. You did it for Ed Sheeran, so come on.
Grow your beard a bit and you'll be in, Ricky.
It actually
I just
looks
trimmed
great.
it today.
Your latest project, Kit, is not about building anything, it's about blowing things up, namely the Houses of Parliament. It starts tomorrow, Gunpowder, and it's based, actually, on one of your ancestors, isn't it? So tell us all about who is it based on, and tell us a little bit about the plot.
I mean, that's how you know, we came up with the idea, really, I have this curiosity story in my family that Robert Catesby, who I'm related to, was the real mastermind or the person who basically was the organiser of the Gunpowder plot.
Yeah.
And so I've always known this, but I did a bit of sort of research around it and realised what a fascinating story, a fascinating piece of history it was. And I think you go up to anyone in the street, really, and you say, what do you know about the Gunpowder plot? And they'll say Guy Fawkes, they'll say barrels of gunpowder. Some of them won't even know whether it was blown up or not. So it felt like a story that every 5th of November we set off fireworks, we mark this date, but do we really know about it? Do we know anything about it? And the story is fascinating and brilliant and exciting.
Well, here's Catesby showing his explosive side.
I will not bow my head to any man whose flesh and blood carries no more divinity than mine own.
Silence! It is the order of this general session that you both be held in jail until payment is made. Take them away!
Sexy and angry. I'm confused all at the same time. So what was Catesby's actual role in the Gunpowder plot?
He was the one that instigated it. He was the one that turned to his fellow Catholic friends and said, we have to change something, we have to do something. Catholics at the time were being, as you've seen from that clip, persecuted, brought to trial for no reasons. The priests were being burnt at the stake at times. You know, it was a really violent part of time in the world, and I think Catesby decided that he had to try and bring about revolution.
And you're getting his name out there, so it's not just Catesby that's the ancestral nepotism in this, because you have another family connection to the Gunpowder plot as well, don't you?
Yeah, we haven't got him in there. That might be a bit much, but there was a certain Lord Harington who was in the Houses of Parliament at the time that Catesby, on my mother's side, was trying to blow it up.
Wow. Both sides.
Yeah, there you go.
That same very man actually invented something, didn't he?
Was it him? It might have been him. I
It
can see. I
was.
don't know. Was it him?
Well, hang on. According to our research,
Okay,
I'm
according
just
to the
putting that
research.
disclaimer.
I've obviously done more research than me.
We haven't said what it was. The toilet.
No, yeah, it's the toilet. And they called it the John, didn't
It's
they?
why he was John Harington, and it's why the Americans anyway refer to the toilet as the John. There you go.
That's it. So you were just telling us that you developed this and produced it, as well as starring in it, obviously. I mean, how was that experience? Did you find it immensely stressful? Is it an experience you'd like to repeat?
I developed this with my friend Daniel West and Ronan Bennett, the writer, and Kudos, the company, and the BBC. And it was such a pleasurable experience doing it, and I never produced anything before, and I had such an incredible time doing it, and it opened up a whole new world to me. I think there's a difficulty in acting in and producing, and I had to halfway through the show stop clock watching or trying to think about other things and just stick to the acting. I think that, if I go down that road again, I might want to just produce or just act and try and separate the two.
But you've got it in your back pocket now.
Yeah, when the looks go.
When the looks go.
That's why I'm doing this now.
What are you trying to say? Anyway, we thought it'd be fun for you to blow something up tonight. Obviously, we can't do Houses of Parliament.
OK.
But we have got 3 barrels outside there, and on top of each barrel is something that you absolutely hate.
Yep.
So, you can only explode one of them.
OK.
That's the deal. And we are calling this... Wait for it.
Boom 101.
So, Dave, our very own Guy Fawkes, will be bringing the detonator. Please appreciate the costume here tonight.
Fantastic.
I said Boom 101.
Lovely, Dave. Lovely.
Thank you, Dave.
Right.
OK, so we've got 3 things that you hate. Three things you hate. 3 things you hate. On barrel A, we have a spider. Now, I can't believe that Jon Snow's scared of spiders.
Yeah, no, I'm arachnophobic to the mat. I turn to a little girl. I'm awful. A little girl's probably a lot braver than me when it comes to spiders, actually.
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
not the nicest.
So do I have to make a decision about spiders?
No,
now?
Well, no. We'll give you another option. So,
right.
option B, there's a calendar out there with December the 26th on it, which is Boxing Day. Now, tell me you don't dislike Boxing Day. What's not to like with a turkey curry?
I actually don't dislike it. That's not one that's getting blown up, I don't think. Boxing Day is my birthday.
Ah, so it's because it's a double whammy.
Yeah. So it's a double whammy. So I did always used to, get a bit grumpy on Boxing Day. Give me the attention. Everyone's hungover from Christmas.
Yeah, I'm a January birthday as well.
Oh, you really?
It's not good.
It's not fun.
It's a bit like Blind Date, this, but we're
It
blowing
is
them
good.
up instead, isn't it? Or contestant number C! We have, it looks like a wig out there, which I think represents your glorious locks. Now, why don't you like your glorious locks?
I get asked about them all the time.
Sorry about that, then.
Sorry,
I don't know. I think it's when Thrones finishes, this stuff's coming off because I've loved having long hair, but it's just the continual strange fascination in interviews with it that I find bizarre.
Yeah,
And
well,
tell me about your hair. Like, what do you want me to say?
I know, what do you want me to say? But you will reinvent yourself completely when you've chopped it off.
Yeah.
See?
No one will know who...
I mean, people talk about your bottom as well, so it's OK.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
One or
bits
the
for you,
other.
to be fair. Anyway, it's time to make a decision. So A, B or C, which one would you like to explode?
I think the hair.
The hair!
The hair's got to go.
hair.
Oh, the hair's going to... OK, now, I've been put in charge of counting this down. And I think we're going to
Do not
start at
get this
5, because they don't join in till 3. OK?
OK.
Here we go,
So,
then.
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1...
Go!
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Should we have a little replay? Here we are.
Can I see it?
I mean,
That's not bad. You'd have the police here in a minute.
the budget's...
That's proper flames and everything. I tell you what, should we just do another one?
Oh, let's do another one. Let's do another one.
I mean,
It doesn't
we
matter.
paid for
Just
it,
push
so-
it down again. 5!
Hang on. Which one?
Which one?
Yeah,
You
which
said
one? Do you want A or B? The spiders or the 26th of December?
Roald Dahl said never kill a spider, so I'm going to go with the 26th of December.
OK,
Boxing
are you
Day.
ready?
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1...
Go.
There you go.
Oh, it nearly went...
We'll have we got time to do the other one as well?
Can we
No,
do the other one as
haven't.
well?
Apparently not. Anyway,
OK.
right. Well, you may be looking for something to settle your nerves
Hiya.
after watching that, but mums and dads, keep your hands off the wine bottle until after this film.
Here in Britain, our average spend on alcohol per person per year is more than £400. Now, we all know the effects on our health of excessive alcohol consumption, and some of us believe that the odd little tipple is actually good for our health. But what I do wonder is if we consider the effects of our drinking on the health of our children. We're on the streets to find out.
I wouldn't drink at home in front of them. I have a glass of wine when they've gone to bed.
If my wife and I were having dinner with the boys, then we would probably have the occasional one.
Well, we just don't. I don't think it's appropriate.
John Foster is from the Institute of Alcohol Studies.
So we surveyed 1,000 parents and their children, which gave us a lot of information about what children pick up on. And we found children noticing things, starts at a lighter level of parental drinking than we expected. But then they noticed perhaps a parent invading their personal space or just not keeping an eye on them as they might normally, ranging to more arguments and feeling worried, embarrassed, anxious, that kind of thing.
So what do you think to the report that's come out this week?
I would disagree with all of that, I'm afraid. I think it's healthy to show your children that you can enjoy a drink at home and drink moderately and enjoy it.
I think my judgment and my reactions would be slowed, so I wouldn't feel comfortable drinking when they're around me.
I certainly haven't observed that with my two. They're generally more interested in doing whatever they're doing and eating their dinner rather than worrying about what mummy and daddy are doing.
What was really interesting, if the child had seen them tipsy or drunk, they were much more likely to say they saw their parent as a negative role model. So what some of our findings indicate is quite a lot of parents probably haven't thought about this. They didn't realise what was going on. And perhaps now, armed with some of this information, they might think again, they might talk to their children more about what they do actually notice and what they don't notice.
The more you hide alcohol from a child, the more they'll want it. So if they see their parents socialising, drinking at home, and they're offered a bit, they will enjoy it. So when they get to 18, they're not going to go and get absolutely wasted.
Can I have a glass of red tonight when I curl up and watch my drama?
I think you can have a glass of red, and they should have a little Ribena with you to show them it's okay to have a red drink.
Well, I think it's everything in moderation, isn't it? There's a big difference between a glass or two and being drunk in front of your children, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. I'd say so. Everything in moderation sounds about the right.
Yes,
including moderation. But staying with mums and dads, I hear that your dad has to Google you to find out what you're doing.
Yeah, he does, yeah. I think my dad knows more about me than I do. He's always joked that if anyone looks at his computer, they think he'd be a kind of South American teenage girl. He Googles me, yeah, and he'll always ring me up and tell me about it. It's funny.
So does your dad know that you start filming on the final series of Game of Thrones on Monday?
He does, yeah, he does.
And how are you feeling about that?
Oh, I'm really emotional about it. We had the read-through last week, in fact, and, so I know everything now. But I cried at the end.
Did you? Oh.
Not because of anything particular that happened. You have to remember that 8 years of it, and I think no one really cares about it more than us.
Well, it's been your life, Kit, hasn't it? You know, and 8 years is a long time in anybody's book. So.
It's been an institution longer than any other institution I've been in, school, drama school, anything. And I think it, I get a bit weepy thinking about it. It's going to be a strange sort of year, like saying goodbye to everyone, having your last scene with this person, having your last scene with that person.
Yeah, well, get a few rugs from IKEA, and then you can always put them on and make yourself feel better.
So, but not only you're attached to it, I mean, loads of people around the world are attached to it, including some pretty famous people. There's, Jack Nicholson is a fan, Barack Obama's a fan, I'm a fan. Yeah. Doesn't get bigger than that. But have you got any funny stories about anyone kind of like coming up to you and saying... Oh,
I do. There's been some really amazing ones. The one that happened in that... You remember when I was dead, and spoiler, before I came back to life,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you did that bit,
we got invited to the Wimbledon Royal Box, and you have like a lunch beforehand, which is this big lunch, loads of different tables, and I took my brother, and we found out we were sat at the royal table, which is a big honour, and we sat down, and then Camilla and Kate's parents came in, and they sat down at the table, and Camilla looked at me and said, "So are you dead?" I thought that was brilliant. I was like her and Charles in bed watching Game of Thrones, getting some ideas about things, I don't know.
Because you've been doing Game of Thrones for so long, and obviously you can't do that many interviews because there's nothing really to talk about because there are so many spoilers. It must just take over your life.
It's the hardest thing. You have to you sound really boring because people are like, well, give me something. And you see this, like, desperation in the interviewer's eyes of, like, well, tell me something. I need something to go.
Are the costumes comfortable? You know, stuff like that.
And it's just hard because we're now, like, especially with this season, like, I mean, don't tell them when you're filming, don't take pictures in Belfast, don't do all of that, you know, so it's on lockdown.
Yeah, and you're the only one that survived. That's pretty amazing.
What came back to life?
Well, it came back, yeah, but still.
Yeah. See, when I was dead, it wasn't actually technically a lie saying I was dead. I was dead.
Yeah.
Just came back.
That's why I enjoyed the last series. Oh, I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone, but
I think we should we're on safe ground.
Okay, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it.
It's quite hard not to say anything.
I'm not going to get involved with this.